ideal Ghana? Do you love this country?
I love Ghana. I sometimes say I cannot be outside Ghana for more than a month. I know that I would have to at some point in my life, but it's a very difficult thing for me. After 3 weeks, I want to come back home. I love Ghana.
It's special to hear that when people talk like that.
Yeah.
Because some people live and sleep and dream thinking one day I'll get out of here.
I know.
But for somebody like you who loves this country, who also had a stint with student politics as SRC vice president. When you sleep and dream about Ghana, what are some? I want to explore some of the things that go through your mind. But this I would love this way. Let's explore 5 of them. What would be number 1? Your first prescription for the ideal Ghana.
Well, I first like to say that my ideal Ghana has more to do with the people. Mm-hmm. Because I think that when people change, things change. It's more individual. I mean, you can have the most fantastic policies, but if the mindsets of the people are where they are, the probability that these policies will be successful are very, slim. One of the biggest things that I have come to realize as a woman and as a mother is that our care for mothers, maternity-related matters, needs a lot of attention in this country. I have come to realize since becoming a mother that a lot of the struggles that young people have is because of the struggles that their mothers have had. Mm. And a lot of struggles that marriages have is because of the struggles that the woman has had. You would agree with me that the early years of our lives shape to a large extent who we become as adults. And a lot of broken adults are could be because they had very difficult early years. And when a child is struggling in the first 5 years of their life, it's probably because their mother is not okay or is not present, cannot be there. Since becoming a mother, I realized a couple of things. Pregnancy is no joke. It's difficult. We don't take it seriously in this country. The care that the attention that the maternity wards in this country get, it's not good enough. The care that pregnant women get, not good enough. Postpartum is a very difficult time in a woman's life. A lot of women are trying to be it all because, yes, that's where we are now. I love it. I acknowledge it. But I think that while we talk about women continuing to be all that they can be and women continuing to climb and shatter the glass ceiling, we need to make adequate provision for women to be able to do all these things and still be able to care for their children. I'm speaking about women because I'm a woman. I know men have their role to play. But when you ask a woman to come back to work after 3 months,
I was going to come to that.
I'm not sure what she's supposed to do with her child then. And let's hang on with the child for a moment. The woman after giving birth does not recover in 3 months. It took me a full year to recover from having a baby. And when I say recover, I mean physically. Mentally was another couple of years. When a woman has a baby, the shock to her body and her mental health, I can't explain in simple words. But we take it for granted. We expect you to just wobble back into your life like everything is all right. Oftentimes, the child suffers because after 3 months, you hand your child over to someone and then you're supposed to carry on as if everything is all right. I recently heard a story about a woman who went to leave her child with a security man at the nursery because she had to be at work. She lives somewhere, say Adenta, and she works on the high street. She has to be at work at 8 a.m. because she closes at 3. So it's either you come at 8 and close at 3 or come at 10 and close at 5. So she goes at 8 and closes at 3. Now, the nursery school opens at 7:30. And for her to get to the other side of town, she has to leave her home at 5. So she leaves the baby with a security man at 5 so she can be at work. I don't know how productive this woman would be sitting in the office at 8 o'clock knowing that her baby's with a security man. I'm not sure how productive she will be. And I'm not sure it's a very safe thing in our world today to be giving your baby to a security man. A lot of us will judge her and say, now what kind of woman are you? What kind of mother are you? And we will judge her. Oh, we will judge her.
Yeah, we will.
But while judging her, we don't think about the practicality of the situation. What is she supposed to do? And it's pretty normal. I was working in corporate when I had my first baby. I'll go to work, go to the toilet to pump breast milk and pour it out and come back and sit at my desk like everything is all right. Because I was lactating, right? And I had the baby and I had the work. So I pretty much had to make it happen. So I'll go sit in the bathroom for like an hour pumping, pour it away, and come back and sit down and have a wonderful meeting. And it took a huge toll on my mental health and my life, really. And at some point I asked myself, why?
In the course of doing our work with the Mental Health Authority, in my life as a pastor in ICGC, we do a lot of work with Mental Health Authority, and I found out the percentage of mental health issues that derive from postpartum experiences.
Oh,
It
yes.
was quite shocking and revealing for me. So I can relate to what you're saying very much.
Mental health postpartum is a very delicate thing. And I think as a country, we have not given it enough attention. I see individuals and private people trying to talk about it, but as a collective, as a country, I don't think we have done enough. The least we can do is have nurseries at the workplace, and it should be compulsory. When you employ human beings of childbearing age, and I mean men and women, you should be able to make provision for it. I know it will be difficult for small companies and entrepreneurs here and there, but we have multinationals and big banks and big organizations who couldn't give a damn. And they expect, that you show up, and then they expect the child to be all right. A lot of these children are not all right. The children we are raising now, we need to worry about them, because it is what we invest in them now that will determine the kind of adults they become in future. And if we are raising children who have absentee parents, that's not good, because those children are going to grow up thinking that, first of all, that's how it should be. Secondly, they are exposed to pretty much everything they read on the internet and everything they watch on TV, and that's where they're going to be learning from, or what the nanny says, or what the driver says, or what their friends say. We had our parents taking care of us. And even us, well, we turned out quite all right, but we could be better. Now, the next generation of children we're raising,
more challenged, all right.
We're all ambitious, and that's nice. But with all of that ambition, I think that as a country, we need to be able to make allowance for our children to still have their parents somehow take care of them. I don't have the solutions, but I think at least having a nursery, just a nursery.
Would you also like a revision of the 3-month maternity?
Oh,
You mentioned that in
yes,
the course of your presentation.
I think so.
So adjust the maternity time.
Adjust it.
And then also make nurseries
Adjust
compulsory
the
for
maternity
some size
time.
of firm.
Exactly. Adjust the maternity leave period. Grant paternity leave as well.
All right.
Because the men also need it. I don't know why we assume that. Well, I guess it's a natural assumption because the child comes from the woman. But then it takes a toll on the father too. Most fathers, by the time the baby comes, are tired. They are drained financially, physically, and mentally. Because even though they are not carrying the baby, they are taking care of the woman who's carrying the baby. They are present, even when they are not married to the person. I mean, I'm talking about all things equal. They are present. They are the ones outside the waiting room praying. They are the ones inside the theater holding the woman's hand. The mental struggle that a man goes through, I haven't gone through it, I'm not a man, but I have seen my husband go through it. I have seen men go through it. And oftentimes women don't even regard it as anything because I am the one who birthed the baby. Do you know, you can't compare what I've been through to what you've been through. That's how we feel. But the truth is, men also deal with it. And then they're expected.
The men would love you for this. So
they're expected to come back to work and make decisions at work as if nothing is happening in their lives.
So that's number one.
That's number one for me. We need
number two,
to take a little more care of our women,
okay,
mental health issues and such. Number two, as a people generally, I think we need to learn to be a little more present. Let me explain. A lot of us try to, balance things. We like to balance things in this country. They say we are all managers. We like to manage. People are at work. and they're constantly talking about home. I don't know if you realize it. Yeah. People are at work and they're constantly talking about home, talking about what's happening in the home, or what to have for dinner, or talking to the teacher, or talking about home. People are at home and constantly talking about work, and talking about what happened at work, and what do you think about this decision I'm about to make, and can you help me with this PowerPoint presentation? And you spend the whole time at home talking about work. Spend the whole time at work talking about home. I think when you do that, you miss out. I know it's important to talk about these things sometimes, but let's not spend the whole time at home before bedtime talking about the PowerPoint presentation. Because when you do that, you miss out. While you are at work, you are paid to work, do the work. You can spend your lunch break talking about what you want to talk about. But if I employ you and I come and find you sitting about constantly on the phone with some other thing, your side gig, because people are at work talking about their side business and making calls about deliveries and stuff like that. You know, these little actions draw us back. When you're at work, try to do the work. Focus on the work. Your responsibility while you are in the office is to make money for your employer and grow yourself and grow the business. I think we should try to learn to do that as a people. And while you're at home, or while we're at home, we should learn to have family time. You know, the fact that your wife knows more about marketing than you do doesn't mean you should come and burden the home conversation with marketing-related matters. When you're at home, can you please talk about your hair and how you're feeling and what you want to eat tomorrow and how the children are doing?
And not PowerPoint.
And not PowerPoint presentations.
Charlie, today your credit hours will rise, Pao. I'm telling you. My goodness.
Because, you know, we miss out on family time. We miss out on loving our partners, you know. We miss out on giving our family love. We miss out on doing homework with the children. We miss out on just being a family because you are talking about your business. And I think entrepreneurs are the worst. Those who work together. Like, you're always, you know, it's difficult to differentiate the work and then the home, and then it's always...
As in like husbands and wives who are doing business together. Yeah. May the Lord forgive them.
And even those who have separate businesses, entrepreneurs are always working.
What I'm saying, may the Lord forgive them, my hand is pointing towards my nose.
Right. So it can get difficult, I know.
I can imagine that.
But then if you're not present, you're missing out. And when you're missing out, you're usually not productive.
I like it.
I think we should learn to be more present.
To be present.
Yes. When you are at church, put the phone down, focus. Be present.
Yes.
I mean, I learned this from Jigbodidosu sometime in 2017.
Great friend.
I asked her whether it was possible as a working woman to have it all. And she said, nah, I don't think you can have it all. But if you can be present where you are while you are there, you can have it all there and have it all here and have it all here. While you are there, give it your all. So that when you leave, you know that, hey, today I was very productive.
That explains that sigh of relief when you finish the play.
Yes.
You give it your all.
Give it your all.
I love it.
Because oftentimes when I'm on stage, my problems are still there. Like, there was one time, in fact, before the first 5 hours with Mario Play, I had just had a weird conversation with a friend. You know, that really got me. I was a little, like, I was very worried. I had a weird conversation with my friend. And it was just about 5 minutes before I had to give my phone and stuff away. Usually I give everything away about 3 hours before the play. I won't check my messages, nothing. But on that day, I was talking to this friend of mine. And just about 5 minutes before going, something happened. And I was thinking about it. But just before I went on, I just...
switched.
And I think it's something we need to learn to do. Because your problems would always call you. But then if you're going to be thinking about the problems of here while you are here, then you will not be solving the problems that are here now.
So be present.
Be present.
That's why I'm present and writing news while you talk. So let's go to number 3.
Okay, number 3. I recently did some work with We Go Innovate. They are a practical STEM education platform, and I learned so much. So basically what they do is they teach children science, mathematics, engineering with practical examples. So you know how we learned in JHS that diffusion is the moving of molecules from a level of lower concentration to a level of higher concentration. Something,
you remember all that?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Osmosis, diffusion, they're all cousins. Yeah.
So this guy and his team, what they do is they will come to the classroom and stand in one corner and spray a bottle of perfume in the corner. And then all the children will be, in another corner. And then they'll ask you, can you smell it? Yes, we can. How is it that I sprayed it here? You can smell it all the way there. And they'll say, we don't know. Then they'll explain to them, okay, diffusion, because it's moving from a level of lower concentration, and then you diffuse it into the atmosphere. I mean, I'm not sure about the science I'm saying, but basically...
But there's a movement.
So then they get it. So when they write the exams, they're able to write it with practical examples, and they explain it without chew and pour. And I thought, oh my God, this is so cool. So I was so happy to volunteer. I did the voicing for it. It was amazing. And I thought, why are we not teaching the children like this? Why are they doing chew and pour? They often say it's expensive to set up science laboratories in school, but this requires very little. This is not a full lab. They do full experiments, and the children are using an empty big pen as a pipette, or they cut like a Vortic bottle in half, and that's the beaker. They measure and put the marks on it. They don't use anything extraordinary. They use basic things in the environment to teach practical science. Now, this is like amazing. It teaches the children problem-solving skills, because they know that, okay, without a science laboratory, I need to find another way to be able to have a beaker. So what do? Let me grab this bottle to use. It teaches them how to think. It teaches them how to solve problems. And it teaches them practical science all at once. And I thought that was really amazing. And this is something I think that the government, the Ministry of Education, we as a people, private schools should adopt in teaching, because these children are going to be creative geniuses. And he does this only in government schools. And while I was volunteering with them, I know they did 100 government schools across the country, from all regions. At the time it was 10 regions before it became, So I thought that was pretty cool. And it's something that we should take a little more seriously.
So you're saying that not just for science, but for any kind of teaching.
Any kind of teaching.
We should find innovative, cost-effective, practical ways of teaching.
Yeah, and I lean more towards practical.
Yes.
My little sister went to volunteer. Well, she did her national service at a government school in Pokwase.
Okay.
And she told me the same thing. She said, when I'm teaching them, they don't understand. They just want to shoot and pour their notes, and I don't like it. So she started this initiative called How Smart Are You Today? Where basically she brings all the children out, she gives them cool t-shirts, and she divides them into groups. And she tells them, show me practically how this or how, like, so in English, mathematics, in fact, every subject, but you have to use a creative way to define all the terms in the subject. So even with addition, instead of just 1 + 1 is equal to 2, you have to bring counters to show. You have to bring counters to do the long division. It sounds very basic, but I realized that every time she does it,
it imprints the lesson better.
And they do so well.
Let me go to your 4th prescription. I think I want to live in your ideal Ghana. What would be the 4th, Naa Ashorkor?
Well, I think number 4 would be that entrepreneurs need a little more support. I don't know how we can support all entrepreneurs. And I don't think that I don't think we can just give entrepreneurs money and ask them to operate their businesses. But I appreciate what people like Ashesi University is doing, where they teach entrepreneurship. It's important, whether you intend to be an entrepreneur or not. You are taught how to be an entrepreneur. I've never attended any of their classes, but I've worked with a lot of students from Ashesi, and they're different. Because they actually, they say the first rule of business is to find a need and meet it. Figure out a problem and solve it. Because people need solutions to their problems. If you're offering a service that's already available, nobody cares about that. How are you making your service cooler? So while we cannot provide money for entrepreneurs to go and whatever, I think we can teach. And so entrepreneurship teaching or lessons on entrepreneurship should be available to us at a very young age, from, I don't know,
I will tell you what, that's the part I was going to answer.
Okay.
Voluntarily, without you asking me.
Exactly.
And when you got to the part that said at a very young age, my head just popped up because Naa Ashorkor, Comfort and I really genuinely think that three things, entrepreneurship, talent development, and investment must be taught to children right from the basics, from class 1. In what? Practical, innovative, and cost-effective ways. And they will learn it. You don't need to use any theory. You are so on point on that. So that will be your number 4. And then number 5.
Well, I'm biased towards the creative industry.
If you had left it out, I would say, Charlie, there would be a little against you.
I think that Albert, we are all creative people. Everybody has a creative gene in them. We just need to explore it. And learning from examples from around the world, investing in the creative space can be the thing that takes Ghana from where it is to where it can be. I mean, there's the Hollywood example, Bollywood example, and so on. I mean, America is great and all that, but we know Hollywood. We know about America because of Hollywood. We know things that are happening in America through their films and such. And so I feel that we need to give our creative space a little more attention. We see what things people like Black Sharif, the young music acts are doing. We watch Stonebwoy and Sarkodie and how, because of their music, we are talking about Ghana on international platforms. We look at even the Year of Return and people coming in. It's because of our art and Afro Nation and Afrochella and the music and so on. But somehow I feel like we are not really tapping
deliberately. If a policymaker asked you, Naa Ashorkor, I agree. What one thing should we do differently? One practical thing we could do.
I think we should make Ghana a friendlier place for international opportunities in the arts. For instance, I watched The Crown, the film about the British Crown. There was the famous visit to Ghana where the Queen came to meet Nkrumah and they did that dance. It wasn't shot in Ghana. When I watched it, it wasn't shot in Ghana. I was looking forward to the scene and I realized it wasn't Ghana. They said it was Oxford Street and I said, no, this isn't Ghana. So I did a lot of research. I just went digging and asking about it. Then I learned a few things and I stand to be corrected. But among other things, coming to film in Ghana is not easy. To start with, even when you try to bring equipment in, when you get to the airport, you have to pay all sorts of monies. And people who have done this will tell you. You have to put some money down, which sort of covers the cost of all that you're bringing in. And then when you're going, they are supposed to give the money back to you, but some people don't get their money back. And so it makes coming here with those equipments a little
challenging. Yeah,
it's not something you want to do. Unlike South Africa, where apparently that scene was shot, where there are no taxes apparently, or not so much. If you're bringing in such equipment, if you want to film, you can just come and film. They're happy to have you. They make it's a friendlier environment for the arts if you're coming in to film. If you want to bring in your equipment, they're happy to have you. You want to come and film, they're happy to have you. They encourage you to come, right? Unlike Ghana, I'm not sure what exactly the problem is, and I wish I could pinpoint. I wish I had the actual facts, but it's generally difficult to do it in Ghana without any hindrances. And so if a policymaker asked me, I would say, let's encourage international collaborations without very stringent or strict rules that make it too expensive to come here. We've heard that Girls Trip is coming to Ghana. We are so happy about it. We want more of those.
Right.
Let's make it possible. I mean, it's easy for music because, the collaborations, you don't even have to be physically here. You don't have to come here to collaborate with Shatta Wale. Shatta doesn't have to go anywhere to collaborate. They're able to do it virtually. But film, it's one way to show Ghana. Thank God for the Year of Return is working. But we want people to see Ghana a little more. Film is the tool that would drive it. If we want to tell our stories, if we want people from 100 years later to see Ghana and understand the culture and the people and love Ghana, it will be through film. And so we should make it easier and more possible for such international collaborations.
Cut? Oh, is that what they say in film? Yeah. You know what? So you mentioned 100 years later. So let me reduce it. So 10 years from now, Naa Ashorkor, what do you want to see in your own life? To wrap up.
I'm never able to answer questions about my personal future because every time I have thought about my future, when I look back 10 years ago, I didn't think that this would be my life.
That's okay. It's allowed.
So I don't know. I think in 10 years, when I think about my life, I just think about my children. I hope that I'm able to raise responsible boys and boys who would live well, boys who would respect women, boys who would be generational thinkers themselves and will have good morals, and boys I can be proud of.
I'll tell you what, this last point resonated very much with me. My mom has been unwell recently, and I took time off to be with her while she was on admission. My brother Sam and I were by her bedside while she was on admission twice throughout. And yesterday I went to sit with her and just sing to her. And while I just played hymns and worship music and sang to her, at a point she lifted up her hand and laid it on my head. I'm a pastor. She laid her hands on my head and I said, wow, that's a big blessing. I think she just wanted me to know she appreciated that experience. So I can relate to you wanting your boys to grow up and respect and be relational, and that just came to my mind as you spoke. Naa Ashorkor, it's been a very, very special experience having this conversation with you. I'm going to tell you what I've learned from you as I was present and listening. First one is about immersion, that you really put yourself into what you do, and it sometimes demands even more during the build-up and rehearsal than even on the stage itself. The whole period is part of the immersion. The second thing I'm learning is about the phobias, that the things you fear, conquer them, because they really, they often only exist in your mind. The third thing I'm learning is about gratitude and grace. You count your blessings and they pull in your life, and you see yourself as a repository or someone who carries the grace of God upon your life. The fourth is about specificity. You say, be specific about what you want in life, in prayer, in job interviews, and even choosing a marriage partner. Know what you want and don't be vague or passive. The fifth is about greatness coming from confusion. I like it very much. When you're confused, you don't know. And so you explore more, and that opens your mind to learning and ultimately to greatness. You see, when you are sure, you can close your mind. On your ideal Ghana, the 5 things, the first one is very key, and that is about investing more in motherhood, women, and by extension, parenthood, and ultimately in the children, because they get more attention. The second one is being more present. If it's at home, be present at home. If it's at work, be present at work. And I like the part that if it's at church too, be present at church. The third one on the ideal Ghana is innovative, practical, cost-effective ways of teaching, especially science, to enable the children to first get the lesson and also inculcate problem-solving skills. The fourth is about entrepreneurs getting more support and we making the teaching of entrepreneurship more practical for our people. And then finally, you talk about investing in the creative space and making Ghana a more friendly place for international collaborations. This ideal Ghana, I want to live in it. So thank you for coming. And what will be your closing thoughts for your fans listening and watching you, apart from seeing you at Tema on Valentine's Day?
Oh, yes, come see me on Val's Day in Tema, 7 p.m. sharp, Zoe Temple.
Yes.
Well, what can I say? It's been a very nice hour with you. Thanks. And hey, just be the very best that you can be, because you can't be that. Learn how to say no. It's okay to say no. If you can't do something, please say no. Don't overexert. And maybe learn how to love yourself a little more. We don't do enough of that.
And be present.
And be present.
Thank you so much, Naa Ashorkor. Let's do this again sometime.
Thank you, Albert. I look forward to it. All
right. So this has been Springboard, your virtual university, coming to you from the Springboard Roadshow Foundation and proudly sponsored by MTN Pulse, the Enterprise Group, UMB Bank, with media support from a multimedia group and the graphic business. On Tuesday, one more reminder, go to the graphic business for a full transcript of this conversation, and let's have this big debate. Which of these lessons that Naa Ashorkor has shared, from, let's start it, from immersion to phobias to gratitude to specificity to greatness, to people and motherhood, to being present, to innovation, to entrepreneurship, and to creative space. Which of these is your favorite and why? Let's have this big debate on social media.